Hey guys, today we're going to talk about the Mulgore starting area, specifically from level 1 to 6. Hopefully this video will give you some key tips and tricks on how to get ahead of the pack on launch day. So when we look at the launch day, one thing we have to take into consideration is that things are not going to go according to plan. You might not get in right away, you might have a server queue, you might get disconnected, and you might not be able to finish some quests that you set out to do. So the first thing we're going to look at is just the optimal way of doing things as a Tauren in the starting area. So you pick up the first two quests, and I right away immediately go behind the building to start killing Planestriders. Sorry about the cut up footage here, but I forgot to start recording on this this character early on, so I wanted to make sure I filled that in. So we're just killing Planestriders, and I start going down into the valley. As I make my way along the fence. There's less people here. Normally people go right out into the middle of the valley over to where the water well is, and so those Planestriders are often the first to be killed. If you go over to this side, there's going to be less competition. I've found this every single time. I hardly ever have any problems gathering up my first 7 feathers. As we kill these Planestriders, we want to start making our way down to the water well. You might have to go out of your way a little bit, up towards the fence again to get the last few Planestriders, as like I said, there's going to be a lot of competition. And now we talk to the Tauren lady here, and we finish that portion of the quest. Now as we run back, we obviously can kill any mobs on our way, but like I said in the very beginning at the start of the game, most of these mobs are going to be killed, and so it'll be very hard for you to get any sort of kills on the way back. So just run back and turn in the quest. One thing that people have noted in the beta is that clothing items, leather, cloth, mail, drop much more often off of these mobs. So make sure every time you go back into the village, you sell everything, because your bags fill up much quicker on the beta. So we sell, make sure we have bag space, and we can purchase our spells. We turn in the note quest for our trainer, and we get right back out there towards the cougars. Now, as you can see, we run along the road. You kill anything that you come across. Like I said, it's going to be a lot more sparse and slim pickings on beta day, or I mean on launch day, because obviously there's going to be a lot of competition in the area. But getting over to the mountain lions as fast as possible is your best bet. So as you can see, we pretty much just grind these. One of the biggest and most important things that you can do here, and is pretty vital not to mess up, is that you want to make sure that when you go back to town to turn in this mountain lion quest, that you will hit level 4. That means you can get Moonfire and Rejuvenation. You really want those before you head over to the cave, because you won't be back into town until you leave to get out of the starting area. So that being said, we need to make sure that with killing these mountain lions and turning in the quest up on the hill, that we get at least 4 bars from 4. So that will essentially make sure that when we get back to town that we at least hit level 4, because if we don't do that, it's going to make that area a nightmare. Say you're a bar away and you're just trying to find some Planestriders, all the Planestriders are killed, and so you're going to probably have to venture out to the next area without Moonfire. And that's Moonfire, especially in the starting area, is going to help you pick up those kills, with the mob tagging being very important. So as you can see, we turn in that quest and we continue just to kill mountain lions. And as you can see, I'm finished with the quest, but we're still just grinding out a little bit more, so we make sure that when we hearth back to town that we have enough XP to get level 4. So as you can see, I go ahead and Hearthstone here, turn in the quest, make sure we're selling, that's very important, and then we train up. Anytime you're walking, make sure you're using that time to the best of your ability. So setting up action bars, moving spells around, dragging stuff down to your bars, setting up macros, anything like that. Make sure you're doing that on the move. Don't do that right at the beginning. You're just going to, set yourself up for failure with being in that bottleneck at the start. So again, I've found that being over towards the fence is always the best. Almost no one comes over near the fence. They always go out into the middle of the zone. So if we stay near the fence, we have very little competition. I know I'm giving you away all my secrets, so now maybe there'll be a few more people over here, but I've found that being over in this area is always best. So as you can see, we're just grinding on these battle boars as we make our way towards the Quillboar Cave. Mana, one thing I should say is mana is different for Taurens on the beta versus on private servers. On private servers, your mana pool is much less. I think when you first start out at level 1 on private servers, you have around 30 to 40 mana, and I think like 33 actually. And a Wrath costs 20 mana, so you're actually only able to cast 1 Wrath on private servers. However, on the beta, I believe your mana starts off right around 75, so you're able to cast 2 Moonfires before you go and your mana scales much better as you're leveling up. So if you're coming from private servers, you'll notice that your mana is not such a big issue at the very beginning. You're able to cast 2 Moonfire or 2 Wraths and then a Moonfire to pull mobs at this level, and that's what I would do. That gives you enough time to kind of hit it down with your melee attacks while regenerating some mana. So within the starting area, I never find myself drinking. The first time I'll find myself drinking is at level 6 once I leave the starting area. So as you can see, we're starting to enter the cave. If you get up to the cave and you're still not quite done with the battle boar quest, that's all right. You can still go in here because there are battle boars within this Quillboar area that you can still kill and finish that quest up. Getting in here is kind of your main priority. So as you can see, we're just slowly making our way through the cave, killing these Quillboars, and our goal is to make our way towards the boss Quillboar that we need for the quest. So just kind of winding your way through the cave is your best bet here. Now, as you can see, my inventory is filling up. That's kind of just a factor that's going to happen in official launch. There's a lot more gray items that are dropping. Make sure you always delete like cloth gray items over tusks or things that are stackable, because those will sell a lot better than a gray item. So make sure you're trying to keep your bags clean and deleting anything that's of less value, because at the very beginning, copper and silver is very important for being able to buy your abilities, and every little venerable item counts. Bags obviously drop much less frequent in the beta than they do on private servers. On private servers, a lot of times by the time you're level 10, you'll have 2 or 3 bags that have dropped for you, where on the beta, I've only ever got 1 bag to drop for me when I was leveling up several different characters. So they are quite sparse. Now at this point, if you've followed everything to a T and you've been pretty quick and you've been able to get it outside in front of the pack, at this point you still might have people that start to come into the cave. This is just a product of the fact that our leveling speed has been slowing down a little bit. We're obviously able to get those first few levels quicker than now we're having to, grind out these mobs a little bit slower. They die slower, so there's a good chance that there's going to start being competition in the cave. Now, especially for that main boss that you just saw me kill, make sure you group up with anyone in the area. There's no point in trying to fight over the tag. Yes, you probably will get it with Moonfire, but the thing is you might as well just invite other players to take part in that quest as well, if they're there. So that's my one time that I would group up in the starting area is there. With these Quillboars and things like that, I would probably just stay solo as well for these, because they're spread out enough that even if you find 1 or 2 people are killing Quillboars with you at the same time, you're able to still find some and get some on your own. And since those belts are player only, they don't share with the group, there's really no point in being grouped up. It's just going to slow you down. All right, so speeding up the footage, you see I kill a few more even though I am done with the quest. I just know that there's not that many mobs in that area, so it'll be a slow death. I run down here to where there's a lot of mobs grouped up, and I go ahead and kill myself. My Hearthstone's on cooldown. You can do it auto unstuck, but that's just the way I chose to do it. As you can see, we're running around turning in the rest of the quests that we have completed, selling all of our items that are in our inventory, and we're leaving to go to the next zone. Again, go ahead and feel free to kill these mobs on the way. One quest that I did forget is in the cave with the Quillboars. There is a mob called the Squealer or something like that, and he drops a leather belt that's fairly good, and he also drops, or on the ground is a note that you can pick up and turn that in for a little bit of XP. It's not a huge deal, but it would have probably got me a little closer to level 6, so then when you're heading to a Bloodhoof village, you don't need a grind. You want to make sure you are level 6 when you enter Bloodhoof village. Those 2 quests that you have to turn in Bloodhoof village are going to get you about a bar, so just make sure that you're either 6 or about a bar away from 6 when you enter. This way, this will let you pick up your spells and get ready to go out and start those next quests. So guys, hope you enjoyed this guide on the 1 to 6 starting area. Hope it helps you get ahead of the pack a little bit. If you have questions about the rest of my leveling experience from 6 to 12 in Mulgore, I do have a video on my channel. It's not narrated or anything. It's just simply me playing. So you can check that out if you'd like to. However, my biggest recommendation would just be to use Joanna's guide. I think Joanna's guide is a great tool, and it is pretty much what I use when I level up in the world. It's just simple, and he's made a lot of improvements to it. So hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you tomorrow.